Aloha. I'm Liah Howard, and today we're going to be doing Psychic Development and Channeling class number 11. We will be learning about how to integrate healing into the psychic session. I want to thank you all for being here. And just a reminder, you have a text chat box at the bottom of your screen. And you can, where it says send to, just put send to Liah Howard, and the message will come just to me, and keep it private. Thank you so much. So that's just a reminder about using your chat box. Again, integrating healing into the psychic session. Look at this being of light. Look at all that light. That's really our truest essence. And when we do healing, we not only become vehicles for that light, but we help to accelerate and increase the frequency of light in the person that we're working with, bringing them back into alignment with their own light body and being. Today we are going to go over a little bit of the homework. We did have a lot of homework last class. We worked with signs and symbols, as you'll recall. So we're going to go through some questions, and then we'll go into our lesson for today, healing and integrating that into the psychic session. We will do a wonderful guided meditation, and then we'll have a homework assignment. So here are a couple of questions and comments that were sent to me through the week. The first one is, last week I found a feather on the sidewalk. Remember, part of the homework was to look for a feather, a penny, and a rainbow. Those were 3 signs from your guides that they were with you. So it says, last week I found a feather on the sidewalk on my way into work. I had been thinking of quitting, and I took that as a yes. That is wonderful. That's a perfect example. You know, you've been thinking about quitting, you've been unhappy with your job, you're asking for a sign from the universe, and one of the signs you're asking for is a feather, and you see it. I would take that as a yes, that probably there's something much better that's awaiting you. And feathers, it's about spreading your wings and moving out and moving to your next step and being guided by spirit. So congratulations. Okay, next question. I felt a little overwhelmed with the homework and wasn't able to get all the symbols. Are some more important than others? Well, all the symbols are important. I really want for you to develop your own little notebook and store of information of symbols and signs to use with your guides. Remember we talked about how when you learn a new language, you have to change everything from English into the other language. So when you're working with these large blocks of information and putting them into tiny symbols, if you have that with your guides, it makes it much easier for them to communicate with you, and actually for you to communicate with them as well, because you'll be able to get more in depth with your readings with people, because you'll automatically know. If you see a balloon letting go in the sky, you know that maybe that person needs to let go of something. If you see a hammer, maybe there's something that needs to be hammered in. And so really work with the symbols. Perhaps the questions that people ask about the most would be relationship, career, and health. If I were to just summarize, those 3 areas are probably the most popular questions that people do ask about. So maybe work with those symbols first, and once you get a number of different symbols, and again, you can use the dream book to help you, to give you ideas for symbols, and then just start incorporating them. So I just got a comment that somebody said that they find that their guides give them symbols in the morning. Probably that's a meditation time is what I'm guessing. Instead of feeling like you're making something up, that they actually are giving you symbols. Yes, and you can ask. It's always okay when you get a symbol to ask, what does that mean? If you're not exactly clear on what the symbol means, you can ask your guides to clarify and to help you to understand. How can I better understand the dream I had of meeting a new guy in a restaurant? Dreams are great ways to get symbols. Wonderful, wonderful ways to get symbols. And this particular dreams always have to go with your own interpretation of the dream. Meeting a new guy in a restaurant, that could be connecting with your masculine part of yourself. Remember, we had a class on the masculine and feminine, the left and right brain, and integrating both of those. So perhaps there's a way that you're integrating that part. Perhaps it's a prophetic dream where you'll actually be meeting someone like that. Or perhaps there's a message to just pay attention to that, to being in a restaurant in that situation, and see what happens, that there's an ally in life. Before we're born, we all choose allies to work with us, and perhaps this is a person that you're going to have a significant connection with. When you have a dream, one of the most helpful things to do is to, when you wake up, have pen and paper by your bed. give the dream a title. Just give it an actual name. And then write down the very first feeling that you have about the dream. I'm frightened. I'm excited. I'm angry. Whatever it is, whatever the feeling is that goes with it. I'm sad. Write that down. So write the title and then write the feeling, and then actually write the dream just as if it's from the first person. I'm walking through a store and I see a bunch of whatever it is, and then you often will get a lot of interesting information from your higher self about what's actually going on in your life, because our dreams are a way to process what's going on and to assimilate some of the lessons and teachings. So really pay attention to your dreams and work with that dream book and the dream symbols as well. You may have no idea you are healing others, but you are. This is from Chris Cahill. And you see this group of people that just by them being happy, the people in the room are feeling happier. So as you lift your vibration, as you come more and more into your authentic, happy, pure self, others around you are going to benefit, and others around you will feel the shift and they will feel the change. And you never know how people are benefiting just from your healing presence. By you being connected to your higher self, it helps them be connected to their higher self. Healing benefits. We benefit from other people's growth and healing without having to go through it. We are all connected, and we can heal ourselves through experiencing others' healing. For example, a person who is afraid of heights can heal their fear by being in the company of someone else who was afraid but has healed that fear. So we're going to go back to the very first thought. We benefit from other people's growth and healing without having to go through it. So there is a way that as you heal, others that come in contact with you will automatically feel a sense of healing in certain areas of their life. So if you're somebody who was very, very codependent and now you're in a place where you're able to be in relationship, take care of yourself, set boundaries, communicate, and have healthy relationship, that helps another individual who's maybe in a relationship that is unequal in power or balance, or in the way that the hearts are open. I want to give you an example. I was deathly afraid of frogs. I know it's a silly thing to be afraid of, but my mother was very, very, very afraid of any insect or frog or mouse or any little creature. And as a child, I was around her, so psychically I was absorbing all of this fear of frogs. Well, then I moved to Florida when I was 18, and Florida is frog central. There's teeny tiny little frogs, there's huge frogs, there's like monster frogs. And I had this friend who lived on a lake, Orange Lake, and a gazillion frogs. And she said to me, I'll work with you on helping you to get over your frog fear, because, they were everywhere, and I didn't want my children to take on that fear. So because she had already been comfortable with frogs, she modeled for me. We started with holding in my hand, a teeny tiny little frog. It was this big. And then we worked up to larger and larger and larger frogs until I was able to hold a regular sized frog. Now I'm in Maui now, and we have these humongous bufo toads, which I can hold as well. So we have to be willing to go past our comfort zone in healing. Healing is about growing, letting go of the old programming, and moving into the truth of who we are. Those frogs were not going to hurt me. That was an old fear that had been put in place when I was very small, and I believed it to be true. And it wasn't true. And she was able to help me by her comfort level with the frogs and the toads. And so sometimes our healing happens just by being around somebody else who's already healed in that way. All healing is self-healing. You really can't heal someone else. The object is to facilitate restoration of the person to wholeness and well-being, to facilitate restoration, not to do it for them, but to be the facilitator, sort of how a midwife helps a mother give birth. She can't do it for her, but she can facilitate. And it's also to assist the client to return to a state of alignment with their soul and path. When we get out of alignment with our soul's path, with what our higher self really, really wants for us, we end up feeling angry or depressed or frightened or tired and disconnected. There's a restlessness, an unhappiness that's there. And when we move back into alignment with our higher self and with our soul's purpose, there's an ease and a flow and a grace and a joy and a happiness that comes. And so that's our job as healers, as psychics, when we work with people, is how can we look at the larger picture of what's going on in this individual's life and help them to return to their soul's perspective of their life, so that they don't succumb to seeing their life only from whatever situation that they're caught in. And how can they look at it from a larger view and know that they can move beyond whatever that situation or circumstance is. I talked to a woman this morning who her cat got hit by a car, and she was just devastated. It was just so difficult. And I was able to work with her and help her to see the larger perspective of her soul, and that her and her cat will reunite again. That's my belief on the other side. And that her cat wanted her to know that she had passed. Otherwise, if somebody had not put her kitty's body in their driveway, she might not have known. That she would have just thought her cat disappeared. So there's all these messages of ways to understand from a larger perspective. And that's what we do as psychics, is we help to tune in that way. The psychic healer, the role of a psychic healer is to help the client access their own healing process. Now these two people are doing Reiki points. One is on the throat and one is on the heart. And these are points that you can practice as well. And actually part of the homework this week is going to be to do a little bit of study of Reiki. That's a very ancient healing philosophy that we'll be talking about. But as the healer heals themselves, they're able to heal more. So part of psychic growth and development is actually looking at those areas of your life where you're in need of healing, where there's an alignment with your own self and your own path that needs to happen so that you can assist other people. Heal or heal thyself is the saying that keeps coming to me. Heal thyself. So it is in healing that we are healed, but it's also in being aware of our own areas that are still in need of healing that help us to be the best psychics we can be. This is from Richie Hu. A psychic healing, also known as energy healing or spiritual healing, is the channeling of energy by the healer to re-energize the patient. This is a natural talent that can be developed. So to re-energize the patient, to bring them back into a state of energy and vitality. And the channeling of energy is where you're not actually doing it. You're opening, becoming, remember we talked about being sort of like the bamboo and letting it flow through. Allowing that healing energy to come through you. So the best thing we can do is to be able to open our body, minds, hearts, and souls to be the largest and most pure vehicle and vessel for that healing energy to come through. I had a radio show. I have another radio show now, but a few years ago I had this other radio show, and I interviewed a number of doctors, healers, psychics, and I asked them, what is the main cause of disease? Every single one. This was the answer. Stress. Now it can manifest in many, many different ways, but stress is the number one cause of disease. And when we reduce stress, healing can take place. So sometimes as a psychic, we're there to help the individual look at what are the areas of their life. Is it internal stress? Is it external stress? Are they having to deal with more than they can actually deal with? We're in the generation now where many individuals are dealing with aging parents. They're also dealing with young children. They're also dealing with careers and trying to do it all. And that's a tremendous amount of stress. So we're looking at how can stress be reduced? How can that person come more into a calm and relaxed place and allow the body to come back into healing and wholeness? I work with children a lot, and one of the things that I see is that children let things go. They don't hang on. You don't see a lot of really stressed children until they get older and they're in lots of different curriculums and programs that kind of push them forward. But younger children tend to stay more stress-free. That's our natural state in the moment. The healer must get out of the way. This book that you see right here, this is John of God. He's a psychic healer. He's in Brazil. Phenomenal being who can actually, yes, put his hands through a person's physical body and do psychic surgery. But more than that, he's an amazing channel for God's love and God's light and wisdom to come through. I have a number of friends that have gone down there and had amazing experiences. So if this one individual can have this capacity and this ability, we all have that within us. We all have the ability. It needs to be ignited, it needs to be tapped into, and the potential is there. So the healer has, the ego has no place in healing. If you have an investment in this person healing in a certain number of treatments and in a certain amount of time and in a certain way, that is your ego. The higher self would never say that. The higher self knows what that person needs for healing. That's why whenever I do a reading, I always ask the person to ask their higher self to give permission to me and my council of guides to bring forth for them what it is that they need, and ask their higher self to assist in the whole process, so that the work is being done from a place of, we're part of a team. We're part of a team of the divine higher self, and working together in that way and getting the ego self out of the way. Healing happens as a result of channeling the energy through and the other person accepting it into their field. Now, this is an important point. You can channel a lot of light and a lot of energy, and you can feel the frequency, and you can feel the heat, and you can feel the love. But if that person's not really open to receiving it, or if there's some kind of maybe a subconscious payoff that they have for being in the situation that they're in, they won't receive it, and they won't be able to transition more into a healthy place of well-being. The healer must maintain an attitude of humility and grateful service. They are the vehicles for the healing that occurs. Humility and grateful service. We are very lucky every time we get to share our light and love, and the light and love of our guides and higher self and healing agents and ascended masters and angelic helpers with other people. That is a gift, and that is a gift that we share from our hearts. And being humble is about, we're not doing it, that it's happening through us, through our openness. We always want to encourage self-healing, always. And this is really important for psychics. We do not want clients to get dependent and calling all the time and asking all these little questions that they could really tune into themselves, or they have a sense of what's going on themselves and then they keep asking. So this is very, very important. So the old saying, give a man a fish and he eats for a day, teach him to fish and he eats for a lifetime. This holds true for psychic work. Pay attention when you're doing sessions for people and let them really process and integrate the information that you have shared with them. I like to recommend with clients that, they wait a few months in between to really, really apply what wisdom and information has come through and make those necessary changes in their lives. Some psychics, they have people come all the time, weekly, and what happens is a dependency, and the person begins thinking the psychic is doing the healing, or the psychic is doing the information gathering, and instead of that person really learning how to listen inside. So one of my goals as a psychic teacher is to help. I have a belief that eventually everyone will be so tapped in and tuned into their own psychic intuition, inner guidance, that we won't even need to do psychic readings for each other. We'll just be listening, and that information will be available. Of course, healers must be unattached to the outcome. We touched on that a little bit, but it is really important. Unattached to the outcome. I interviewed John Edward. He's an individual who does mediumship, and he works with bringing through messages for other people. And one of the first things he said to me was, Liah, I never promise a person who's going to come through. And sometimes they get disappointed because they might want their great Aunt Gertie to come through, and their brother Charles came through. And he says, but I really trust that the right message comes through for them. And that's what I can teach them about, is being open and trusting. And sometimes no messages come through for people, and sometimes there'll be many messages for other people. So you may have a client and you're not getting healing energy or light for this person. You're just sort of getting some real practical information that they need to do things practical in their life, and that's okay. We have to trust the information that's coming. When you start with a prayer and you create sacred space and you connect with their higher self and your higher self and you open yourself, that's where you let go. Now, sometimes people actually have certain situations in their mind or in their lives that keep them from receiving healing, or keep them from receiving the psychic guidance that you're giving them. Sometimes it has to do with their destiny. that they're really not destined to be financially successful in this lifetime. That is not their destiny. That in this lifetime they may have decided before they were born that they wanted to live a very simple life and not focus on the money. And so as much as you may want to heal that area of life for them, that may not really be their highest and best outcome for what their soul needs. Sometimes karmically a person has some sort of debts to pay off with another individual, and they may want to be done with somebody, but they're not done until they're done. They're not done until the karmic debts are sort of leveled out and healed and cleared. This is the same thing with contracts, that sometimes people want to clear contracts, but it needs to be sometimes from both people's side, that these contracts are very deep. They may go from another lifetime, that a person made a contract to assist a number of people, and in this lifetime, this is the lifetime that they're to do that. So the healing, again, can happen in many, many different ways, and we don't always see the healing. I always think of healing as sort of like the tip of the iceberg, that there's a lot more healing going on than what we can actually see, and sometimes the healing happens, and then it unfolds in the next weeks and months and years, and you don't even realize it. Willingness. Sometimes people are just happy staying in their pain, they're happy staying in their neurosis, they're happy staying in their fears, they're happy staying in their limitations, they're going to fight for their limitations, they don't want to get out of the box of how they're living their lives. Maybe they were referred to you for healing because somebody they love set up the appointment, or maybe somebody wanted them to get it, but maybe they're not really invested. That's why whenever I do a session for somebody, I always ask, I never let somebody schedule a psychic reading for somebody else. I always say that person actually needs to call me themselves. And I like to talk to them and see if they really are open to having it, because I don't want to waste my time or waste their time if they're really not invested in their growth and in their healing. Faith. Faith, they say with faith that it takes many, many experiences to build, and it takes only a moment to destroy. So sometimes people have had an experience where their faith has been really rocked. It was just shook up, and it's hard to rebuild it. And that you may be the first psychic or healer that they've gone to that they actually even have a teeny tiny inkling of faith. And they may have a lot of skepticism, and they may have a lot of fear from experiences that have happened before. Unfortunately, there are people in this profession of psychic and healers that are not authentic, that are not heart-centered, that are ego-centered, that are doing it for the money. And we may be the psychic or the healer that person comes to when they finally have enough faith to decide that they're going to step back into that realm and trust that their higher self is going to connect with them in some way. So your faith, your own faith, goes a very, very long way in terms of helping another person to heal. And they can feel when your faith is strong, and that helps them to be strong as well. I used to go to Casadega Spiritualist Association. It's a church in Florida, and the whole community is psychic, everybody in the community. And they have a little gazebo outside the church. On Sunday morning, they have healings before and after the service, and they do what's called the laying on of hands, where a person will stand behind you, and actually they're usually pretty elderly there. They stand behind you, and they place their hands gently either right above the head or right on the head, and they send in healing light. And I had the most amazing experiences there with receiving this healing love. Now the energy had built up in this it's an inside gazebo kind of a building. The energy of healing was so built up in there, you could feel it. It was palpable. That's what people went there for. People went there to lay down their burdens, to heal their wounded hearts, to release the past. And you could feel it. I could feel it when I entered the temple. It was very quiet and had soft music, and it was very sacred. And there was an essence of miracles can happen here. Miracles can happen, and miracles happen all the time. So when we put ourselves in environments like that, it helps the faith to build and to grow. So faith is really very important for healing. Resistance. Resistance is when a person kind of wants to be healed of something, but they kind of don't, because it might mean that they have to change their life. So let's say you're working with somebody who has some sort of really, let's say they have a food addiction, and they just really, their whole life is about where they're going to eat breakfast and where they're going to eat lunch, and wow, what are they going to have for dinner, and what's it going to taste like, and their whole life is really wrapped up in planning about their food. So then they come to you and they say, I really, they're in this big body and they're not happy being in this big body. And they're saying they really want to have healing with this, right? Okay. But there might be a part of them that resists, because if they lose a lot of weight and they let go of this addiction, they might have to then deal with some underlying issues. Perhaps their sexuality, their sense of looking good in their body, their sense of having more energy and vitality. Perhaps there's some relationship issues, that their relationship is with food and their relationship with their partner is practically non-existent, and they have to change that. So the resistance comes maybe not in just wanting the healing, but in how they have to change their life as a result of the healing. So this is the follow-up that can happen, is how can a person shift some of those deeper levels of being as well. And again, that's them working with their higher self. But you hear stories, I hear stories often about people who are really ready. When you're really ready to be healed, it can be lifted just like that. It can happen in a moment. It doesn't have to take a long time. It doesn't have to take a lot of sessions. It can happen. And of course, when you're working with a spiritual healing, that's where the tremendous energy of healing in the moment happens. Victim mentality. Okay, I'm familiar with that one. So if I'm carrying a victim mentality and I get a lot of attention for whenever I'm a victim, then there might be a little part of me who gets a payoff for that, who gets to sort of feel important because I'm a victim, whether it's about health or finances or relationship or career, whatever area I happen to be feeling like a victim in. So if I really want to clear that, if I really want to clear an area, say relationship, where I have felt like a victim, I'm always attracted to guys who are unkind to me, or guys that leave me, or guys that, whatever it might be, whatever that victim mentality is, then if I ask for that to be healed, I have to be willing to feel empowered and to take responsibility for myself, and to know that maybe up until now that was the type of relationship that I attracted, but now in this moment, as I claim the healing, I can claim moving into a whole different type of relationship. So it's about shifting those old beliefs and really making it a very palpable, integrated and real difference energetically. It's an energetic change. And again, it's sort of like pulling out these deep weeds or roots from the system and saying, I'm going to go really deep and release these old patterns so that I can be free. And denial. I heard it said that with denial, that we stay in denial. That's sort of like putting the blinders on. I'm only going to see what I want to see, and everything else is out here, and I'm not seeing it. But when we're ready, when we're really ready, the blinders come off and we see. And denial is there as long as it needs to be there to function. It might be our inner child is having a difficult time, and our denial is there, our blinders are there to keep us safe for a certain amount of time. But eventually our higher self will help us to take off the blinders and look at life more openly, with less judgment, with less criticalness, and more of a compassion and tolerance, so that we can move forward. It takes somebody who has, say, a gambling addiction, and they're really in denial about it. Every paycheck's going to Vegas. Every paycheck's going into, buying lottery tickets or whatever it is, until they're really ready to look at that and say, whoa, I've got an issue. It's going to be hard to do healing on that particular aspect because they're still in denial. So we have to, as psychics, we work with helping them to sort of take down the veil, because we all have a certain way that we present ourselves in life. Take down the veil, be open, and look at the deeper cause for what is the yearning beneath the addiction. Usually it's a hole in the heart in some way, feeling not good enough, feeling not full enough, feeling not valuable enough. But if I win lots of money, then I'm suddenly important. But maybe there's a way that person can feel important just by remembering who they really are. And that's what we can offer as psychics. Let's look at this picture real quick. You see this woman and she's got her arms crossed and she's not open. She's stuffed. You can see her whole energy field is closed. So when you're working with healing with another individual, you want to tune in. What is their body saying? What is their body telling you? Are they open? Are they relaxed? Are they in a trusting, receptive mode? Or are their arms crossed? Is the head down? Is the mind busy with lots of other issues? This will make a difference in terms of their receptivity with receiving the healing. All right. Energy flow healing. These are just a few types of energy healing. Psychic healing, Reiki healing, chakra balancing, aura clearing, and polarity. That is where instead of actually laying on the hands, these can all be done through the energy of the hands, through feeling the energy in the aura, through feeling the energy around the individual. And with Reiki, sometimes actually placing the hands on the body, but in a very gentle way and sending energy and healing flow in. So we are all energy vibrating at a certain frequency, and when we send energy, a really positive, loving, high frequency of energy, it helps to shift a person's set point and bring them to a higher point so that they can then let go of whatever might be keeping them from their highest energetic beingness. We're going to look at a few different types of healing. Psychic surgery, again, this is John of God, and I would recommend, if you have a few minutes, to just Google him and see what comes up. It'd be interesting, just as you're learning about healing, to understand that the mind doesn't really understand about healing works, just like the mind may not really understand about how electricity works. Or, I put a CD in the CD player and I'm not really sure how it reads it. I know it reads it because I can hear it, but how does it read it? I don't know how it reads it. And it's kind of like that with healing. We may not know exactly how it works, but we can feel it and we can see the results. And that's where the faith comes in and the openness comes in. So trusting when you're doing a psychic reading for someone and all of a sudden it feels as though your guides are saying, share some light. Maybe you feel that you want to put your hand up and send some healing energy or light in. To trust that your higher self knows, and that person, their higher self, knows what they need to receive as well. Here's another type of healing, energy and psychic healing, and you can see that they're holding the hands up over the body. And one fun thing that you can do is to rub your hands together like this, and then play with the energy in between and really just bounce it. I can definitely feel it. I know you can too. And just bounce it and feel it. And that's the invisible energy. And healing energy is often invisible, but very, very powerful. Just like sound is invisible, unless you're looking at a sound wave, you can't see it, but it can be very, very powerful. If you've ever been to a rock concert or a classical music concert, it's invisible. You don't see it, but you feel it. And that's how healing is too. One type of healing is healing from psychic attack, and I do want to look at that just a little bit because if you're not taking care of your own auric field, and we had a whole class on protecting the aura, and really, I said I wouldn't go out of the house without brushing my teeth. I'm not going to go out of the house without filling my aura with light and putting a rose in front of my heart to clear any negative energy, and to send a grounding cord down, and to call in my angels and guides to bless me and surround me. These are ways of psychically taking care of myself and paying attention. Does it feel like I got a psychic cord from someone? Sometimes when I'm driving, I tend to drive a little bit fast. You can't drive really very fast in Maui, but I did live in California where the driving, it's more 70 miles an hour there, and it's 45 here, so it's a bit of an adjustment. But sometimes if I drive a little fast and I see somebody psychically kind of sending me like, don't drive like that. That's a psychic, sort of like this, you can see, blah. It's a psychic energy, like a sword or an arrow or a spur coming at me. And then I have to just say, oh, I don't want to take that in. I see that's coming at me. I want to deflect it out, put my shield of light. And then what I do is I send peace to that driver. And I just say a little prayer in my heart. Peace be with you. Peace in your heart. May you drive with light and love. And that's a really helpful thing to do, is not just feel the victim. You can see this woman with the, getting psychically attacked is feeling like a victim. She's not in her power. She hasn't protected her space. She's allowed that energy to come in. She's taken it on. And she could easily turn around, stand up, and say, I command you to leave. I am not going to accept this energy. And feel the strength in there. And really take responsibility for herself and send that energy back to that being, and then end with prayer. So that's a way of psychically taking care. Sometimes as psychics, we will help people who have taken on cording or energy from other individuals to cut those cords, and I like to imagine like cutting them with a big pair of scissors, and to send that energy back towards them. There's, again, many types of healing. There's healing agreements and energies from the past. Sometimes some of the healing that happens is from other lifetimes, from contracts that were made, from situations that happened when we were young. And so what we can do as psychics is we can help tune in and get a sense of when did this belief system come into being. So if the person, let's say the person has a belief that they're not good enough. Maybe when they were in the first grade, they had a teacher who was very strict and very cold, and they were sitting in the back of the room, and this poor little 6-year-old really needed to go to the bathroom, but they couldn't because the teacher had a rule, you couldn't do that. So they raise their hand and they say, oh, I really need to go, and the teacher says, no, you're just going to have to hold it. And so what happens is this little being, this little 6-year-old, takes on this energy of, I'm not important enough. My needs aren't important. And so that energy goes into that little 6-year-old's body, and they end up disconnecting from the needs of their body. Just because, when they were 6 years old, sitting in that class, because they wanted to get the love and approval of that teacher, and they may have been frightened by the authority that that teacher represented. So what we as psychics can do is we can tune in and we can say, oh, I see that energetically this pattern came into being when you were this age or this age or this age, and we can actually shift that. We can go back through time and space and remove that. So we can travel through time and space when we're working in the dimensions. So this doorway also represents individuals who have passed into other dimensions. So I have a question here. Are there ways to send healing back in time to someone who has already passed on? Absolutely. This is really a great question because we're always connected to individuals, whether they're here or whether they pass on. There's an energetic, whenever we've had a relationship with someone. So we can work with healing through the dimensions, through time and space, and it can be done in many different ways. We can actually envision that person sitting in front of us and holding their hands and feeling their love. And if there's a way that you need to say, I'm sorry, or I wish I had, or if only, or if I could have done that again, these are all just different ways of healing. We can also, instead of focusing on a lot of times when people pass, people tend to focus on what they look like at the end instead of focusing on what they were like in their vital and alive time in life. And that's a way that we can heal as well. We heal our memory of them, and we heal our energy with them, of letting go of that painful part of their life, and maybe elderly or sick, and moving into that happy memories. So we can definitely heal with someone who's passed on. And a lot of times we have issues with parents that need healing, and we can do that with the help of a therapist or somebody who works with, say, regression, working with regression, hypnosis, things of that nature. Distance healing. You see, this woman is on the phone. Healing can happen over the phone. It really, really, really can. I've done lots of readings over the phone. I've worked with healers over the phone. And it can be just as powerful because, again, it's the energy. It's not, you don't have to have the physical presence to have healing happen. I have clients from all around the world, and I know that they receive the healing. It's pretty amazing. So be open to, if there's not somebody right near you that you can practice healing with, you can work with healing with someone from a distance. And what I'd like you to do is to get their name and the town that they're living in, and when you work with the healing, to say that 3 times and really bring in the energy of that person, and then picture a beautiful light going to that being and seeing them whole and healthy and well. So another type of healing is during the dream time, and this is pretty amazing, because my belief is that when we go to sleep, that we reconnect with our divine higher self, with that infinite part of us. So, and I've said this before, let's pretend that our higher self is our whole body, and our little tiny thumbnail is our personality, and that's very, very small in comparison to the vastness of our being. So when we go to sleep, we're able to merge with that higher self part, and sort of just, when you reboot your computer, you reboot your system with your higher self's wisdom and knowledge. And there is a way that healing can happen. So if you have an issue that's bothering you, you can put a little prayer on a piece of paper, put it under your pillow, and ask your guides and angels to help you with that. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing to do. And you can receive messages. You can wake up in the morning and have the answer to an issue of something that might be bothering you. I want to focus in on Reiki healing a little bit. It is a very popular type of healing that has become known all around the world. You can do some of your own research on it, but for right now, it is a skill that can be learned. So it is a natural talent. Healing is a natural talent that can be developed, and Reiki is an actual skill, a way of doing healing that can be developed. It includes very specific ways of lightly laying on of hands and sending universal life force energy, helping, again, that individual that is receiving the treatment, the healing energy, to get back in touch with their own universal life force energy. I'm going to be recommending a book towards the end of the webinar today that you can use as a resource for Reiki healing energy. It's certainly a good tool. It's a great tool to add to your psychic ability in your tool bag for psychic tools to use with clients. Another type is a medical intuitive, and body talk is an incredible, these people who take body talk, this is an incredible form of training that is very, very in-depth about learning about all the different systems of the body, how they work together, what they're saying, how they heal, how they communicate, what the messages are, the social, emotional, psychic, and spiritual messages that are associated with each and every part of the body. So if you can get a session with a body talk practitioner, that's going to teach you a lot about healing, and it might be something that you would want to research a little bit more about as well. I do recommend to all people who are working with healing to get familiar with the anatomy. There's a great massage book. It's I don't know the exact name of it, but it's like a coloring book for massage therapists, and you learn about all the different systems and organs, and it's very visual, so it's very good for the right brain. But when you're familiar, so if you're doing a reading for someone and all of a sudden you get a pain in the back, it could be the kidneys that are acting up, but this person could actually have very, very toxic kidneys. Or if you suddenly get a feeling in your throat, and there could be an issue with the thyroid. So you want to tune into what organs and systems are in the body, where they are, and what they might feel like. And that will help you as a psychic when you're doing readings for people, certainly when they're asking you questions about health. Remember, we don't ever diagnose. We're not diagnosing. We're not doctors. We're just telling them the energy patterns and feelings that we have about the different areas. Here's just a few examples from my experience working with people, and also from having a radio show where I interviewed hundreds of people, doctors, healers, psychics, authors, about healing. Heart attacks. This was really interesting. I remember I did this one radio show, interviewed 5 people, and in the previous year, each one of those 5 people had a painful breakup or a loss, either a very painful divorce or a death in the family very close to them. And they ended up having a heart attack. Not that you have to have that happen if you had that situation happen, but it is interesting that those were all preceded, that the heart chakra, that part of the body that holds the energy for the rest of the system, got overloaded or shut down. So it's good to learn about these different areas of life. Louise Hay has a great book, Heal Your Body, and I have that in the reference materials at the end. But that is a great resource for you as a psychic to learn about the different parts of the body. And when you're tuning into somebody psychically, to go, oh, well, this part of the body means that. And then you have information that you can share. So one of the things that I learned was when an individual has cancer, that there often happens after a period of time when the person has been feeling sort of off track and out of sync with their life, that they're actually not fulfilling their life's purpose. And this may not be with everyone, but in a number of circumstances with the people that I interviewed, doctors, healers, authors, and so on, that they would say that the person was just not really feeling fulfilled with what they were doing in life. So that is a way that we can look at the patterns, the emotional, psychological, spiritual reasons behind the illnesses. So it's not just the actual circumstance of a tumor here or an advanced stage of melanoma there, but there's the other reasons underlying as well. Lung issues, these are often associated with deep grief, and the grief usually has not been expressed. People either stuff the grief, or they're in denial about the grief, or it's just so overwhelming. The grief is just so great. And so they may have lung issues. These may be everything from asthma to emphysema to lung cancer to a deep cough there, a deep pain in the lungs, or an inability to fill the lungs up fully. So we want to look at some of those different areas. Psychic readings and healings, they can help in many areas. They can help to reduce anxiety, grief, depression, and trauma. I love when I do a psychic reading for someone, when I see them come in, usually there's sort of a stress around their being or heaviness. Even if they're in a really positive place in life and they're doing a reading more to enhance their life, usually by the end of the reading, I can look at that person and it looks like they're beaming, that there's a way that they're reconnected with their soul, they're reconnected with their light and their essence. So people go through a lot of different situations and circumstances in life, and when they come for a session, and when you're working with someone, usually some of these anxiousness, grief, depression, and trauma are going on under the surface. Even though they may have a facade, they're at work, nobody knows what's really going on, but beneath the surface, this is what's going on. You can see this poor guy, he's got all these debts, fear, sickness, worry, anxiety. So these are the things that we want to help to shed light on, that we want to help them to see from a different perspective, and how they can have a sense of empowerment with changing and shifting these, so that they're, again, not the victim, that they can move out of trauma if they've had a trauma in the past and it keeps getting reignited. What can they do to release that? If they have an anxiety or a phobia or a fear or deep grief, how can we help to assist them to get the resources that they need, to get the information that they need, or the shift in consciousness that they need? Here's a few different systems and methods for healing, and you may not use this in your psychic system, but you might refer people for these types of things, or this might be part of what you do. I have a friend, a number of friends who are ministers, kind of in a non-traditional way, that work with prayer and healing with people. There's the 3-step prayer, the science of mind prayer, unity prayer. Oh my gosh, so many different types of prayer, but there's also chanting, there's shamanic chanting, there's Tibetan chanting, there's chanting with crystal bowls, there's many, many different types of chanting. So chanting, prayer, crystal and singing bowl, healing sounds, invoking help from healing saints, and visualizing wholeness and well-being. So many different types of healing are available, and you may find a type that just feels like it fits like a glove. Like when you did it, perhaps you're somebody who tuning forks. You're very sound sensitive. Maybe you're very musical and you can really tune into the sounds. You work with the tuning forks and there's a way that it just feels like it's a natural extension of who you are. Perhaps you're somebody who can do toning, who all of a sudden these beautiful, beautiful healing tones just flow through you. I had this one student who was actually pretty quiet in her everyday life, but when she opened to her healing energy, oh my gosh, the sounds that came through, they felt like they were directly from the angelic realm. And it was because she was willing to let go and be the vehicle and the vessel. And there's a saying, it says, this is from Doreen Virtue's Angel Deck, when you get nervous, focus on service. So if you're doing a healing or psychic session for someone and you feel a little nervous, just get out of the way and allow it to come through. Focus on you serving them and really being the vehicle for that to come through. Prayer, we've talked about prayer. Prayer is very important with each healing session that you do, each psychic session. I would like you to start with a prayer. We want to create the sacred space first. We touched on this, the root causes of disease, the emotional, spiritual, and mental states. So the physical body, that's usually the last place that the illness will show up. It often shows up on these other levels around the aura first, and then actually in the physical body. So the healing kind of happens like that as well. The healing may happen on the spiritual level first, and then the emotional, and then the mental, and then actually in the physical body. That's why sometimes the healing isn't apparent right away. Sometimes it is. And sometimes there's a little process of energizing these other areas first before you can actually feel it. But certainly we want to work with the mental state, which could be working with affirmations is a wonderful example of changing the mental state. Something like, every day in every way I'm getting better and better. Every day in every way I'm more and more radiantly alive and healthy. All good things are unfolding. Those sort of positive statements that go into the subconscious. The spiritual is about reconnecting with that person's own essence. That's where all healing ultimately comes from. And then the emotional, that's oftentimes with working with healing the inner child. And we had a class on, that was specifically in class number 9. If you didn't get to view that class, I ask you to go back and view that class, working with healing the inner child. And there's a tremendous amount of healing that happens there. Spirit release work. Well, a class on healing wouldn't be complete without at least touching on these areas. Some people focus entirely on these. I don't. I tend to focus on the love and on the positive aspects of life. And I do feel that love is the most powerful force in the universe. The most powerful force in the universe. And that love can dissipate all negativity and all fear and all darkness. So, spirit release work is working with clearing entities or implants or old karmic contracts. And sometimes, a person may have a number of different entities that are sort of psychically attached and connected to that person. And it only happens when the person has let their guard down and they're not really taking care of their own psychic space. That's what happens. Sometimes we get lazy, we get tired of it, we just sort of let our guard down, right? I mean, do you ever leave your house and forget to lock it? Sometimes, right? You're in a hurry or whatever. So it's really about taking care, tuning in. You can go to somebody who works specifically with these areas on releasing entities, which entities are beings who are not in the physical body, you may have a psychic courting to. Sometimes there's beings who are sort of between the worlds that are looking to attach to energies here to sort of get a feeling of having a place of belonging, but we can send them off with love. And again, if you do feel there's any energies or negative entities around, you don't have to be frightened of them. When you're here on the earth, you are in the third dimensional realm. This is your realm. This is where you chose to be. You get to be the boss of here. You don't have to be, you don't have to succumb to energies from other dimensions and levels that can overtake you. You command your reality here. And so it's really for you to come into a place of empowerment and wholeness. Now, if you're somebody who has felt like a victim in many areas of life, then you may feel like a victim in that area as well. And so that's where some of that deeper healing and removing old patterns comes in, so that you can really be empowered and you can take care of your psychic space. Implants, this has to do with, I hate the word alien because that puts so many people off, but beings from other realms who may either be doing scientific experiments or on a soul level, that you actually agree that you might be getting some sort of a psychic implant put in your consciousness for information gathering for them. These can be removed, and they're never put in without your permission on some level, whether it was before you came into this lifetime or whether it was in your dream state and you agreed. There's always some sort of an agreement on some level that that can happen. So if there's an implant that you don't want, they can definitely be removed. They can be transmuted. They can be disengaged, deactivated, and they can be healed. And so not to worry is all I'm saying. And you can work more with that. You know, I'm just offering sort of you a general information, and anything that you're interested in, you can research even more fully and thoroughly in other ways. But again, I like to focus on love being the most powerful healing in the universe. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, it's worth saying again, love needs no protection. When you're in a place of complete unconditional love, love is your light. You are that place of unconditional love. Okay, it says karma. If you throw a boomerang, be ready to duck. And karma police, what comes around, goes around. I think that's what it said. What goes around comes around. So we want to put out positive energy. We want to be in a positive, loving space. And that is the kind of energy that we're going to attract. And that is the way that we're going to live our lives. If you live your life from a place of fear and terror and frightened of negative energy, then you probably will attract it. And I would suggest to you working with a teacher who will help to bring you into a place of empowerment. Oops. Psychic readings and healings can help the client connect to their guides, their power animals, their guardian angels, and their spirit helpers. They can all assist in aligning the client to their soul's path and higher purpose. So you don't have to feel like you're doing the whole healing. That would be a big responsibility. But when you can call on that person's guides, that we each have guides that are working with us, whether we know it or not, whether we feel them or not, whether we see them or not, or whether we hear them or not. My belief is that we each do have guides that are working with us to help us, that's part of what their karmic contract is, that they're here to assist. And that I do believe that we each have power animals that are also here to assist, and those animals carry certain qualities. Let's use the example of the turkey. And if you look at the medicine cards, I don't know who wrote them, but the medicine cards have a lot of different animals, and you can look up what the animals mean. But the turkey, you know, it doesn't seem like a really positive power animal, but the truth is about the turkey, they are selfless giving. Isn't that beautiful? Selfless giving. So if you are doing a reading for someone and all of a sudden you see a turkey and you're thinking, what does that turkey mean? I mean, you know, that it can be used in a negative way too, like you're a turkey or you're a whatever. But the truth is, turkeys are very, very giving. They give of their lives. They give of themselves. So do a little study with learning about some power animals, and that will help you in your psychic reading, so that if all of a sudden you see a little bunny come in, or you see a great big black panther come in, that maybe that person's really needing to feel more empowered, more strong in their life, commanding that energy. Or maybe with the little bunny, they need to feel more of a connection. Bunnies live in warrens. They live all together, part of a community, and a softness. So help them to connect with their power animals as well. Guardian angels, there's a lot of different theories about guardian angels and archangels and heavenly angels and regular angels. So I'm not going to go into all the details of that at this time. You can do your own research on that. But my belief is that we each do have a guardian angel that is with us, that we can access, and that we can certainly call on to help us with healing. And I would encourage you, when you're working with your sessions, to, if you're feeling stuck at any certain point in the reading, to actually call on that person's guardian angel to help give you more information for what it is that they need. And spirit helpers, these are individuals who usually that you have shared some lifetimes with. You have a very strong, loving connection, and they are here to help you, perhaps just from the other side, in this lifetime. I want to just look at a few of the specifics and logistics of conducting a healing. Now, I did mention Southern Cassadaga Spiritualist Association, where they have a whole room specifically set up for healing. You may not have that arrangement in your home, but if you can, that is a wonderful thing to do. I know where I do my psychic readings, I have an office set up specifically for psychic readings. I don't have any computers in there. I don't answer the phone in there other than for phone readings. I just leave that as sacred space for readings, and I think my guides really like it. They know when I go there, that's what I'm going to do. So maybe you can create a special place in your home. This woman has created a little healing area with flowers and a candle, and you can see the light all around her. Certainly that is the optimum situation, but if you can't, if you can at least create sacred space through saying a prayer, starting with saying a prayer, filling the room with light, filling yourself with light, sending light to your client, calling on the guides and angels to be there and to assist. You always want to start, this is really important with healing, you don't want to take on the other person's energy, so you want to ground your own energy down to the center of the earth, okay? Working with that grounding cord, every single week I think I say this, ground, ground, ground. Grounding means from the hips, remember, think of your hip bones and imagine a root going down to the center of the earth, and it's connecting you to, if you think about the most peaceful place on the earth, that's kind of the energy that you're connecting to. Very, very safe, very strong, very still, very quiet, very peaceful. This is the infinity loop, and we've gone over this a few times. I'm reviewing it because it's a very important thing to do. You start again at your heart center, and you send the energy up into infinite love, connecting with infinite love, bringing it down into the heart, back down, and through the hips, down to the center of the earth, back into the heart. So it goes like this. I am one with all the love in the universe, bringing that love down into the heart. And I am rooted and grounded, connecting with the infinite peaceful energy from the earth, bringing that up into the heart. And you do that 3 times. I am one with all the love in the universe, and I am rooted and grounded. Do it with me now. I am one with all the love in the universe, and I am rooted and grounded. And last time, I am one with all the love in the universe, and I am rooted and grounded. And it's wonderful if you'd like to use a color. You can see these different colors that are being shared to actually bring that energy in on a vibration of a color as well. Also, before conducting the healings, we already talked about the prayer, the light, and the prayer. You want to get into a place of channeling, of actually being the open vehicle to bring the healing energy through, so that there's not a feeling of trying. If you feel like you're trying, stop. Just stop right there. Because it's not about trying. It's about opening, receiving that energy in yourself and letting it flow through you, being the channel. Okay, so you could go back and review a class on that. And again, I have on my website, Liah Howard, there is 3 different meditations that you can do, and one is specifically about connecting with your guides and being a channel. That's the 29-minute one. So we are going to be helping the client to come back into balance. Now, each of us really does know what balance feels like. When you're standing, there's this place in Santa Cruz, California. It's called the Mystery Spot, and it's a very crooked room, and the sense of balance and gravity is really off. It's very, very strange. So we all know what balance feels like, and we know what unbalance feels like. And when we feel unbalanced, it feels as though our energy is tipping to one side. Now you can look at this picture of the rocks and see how the energy is balanced. It's not quite equal. The stick is shorter on one side than the other, but there's that feeling of balance. So what happens with people who come for healings and psychic readings is in some way they've gotten out of balance. And what we can do is help to bring them more into a state of balance, working with their energy field, working with their chakras. We've covered all of this information in other classes, working with bringing them all into balance. So we never want to open up one chakra wide open unless we're also working with opening the other chakras so that they're in balance, that there's a flow. So you have to trust that you know what balance feels like. I know you do. I know you know what it feels like. So you want to feel the client's energy. You want to interpret the energy that you feel. So you don't want to just feel it. You actually want to, so when you're doing healing with someone, what I like to do is really center myself and feel my own body first and feel what's going on in my body. And then feel their energy and feel what's different. Is there an area of my body now as I tune into their body? I actually give permission for their guides and higher self to indicate to me what's going on in their body. You know, I might suddenly feel nauseous. I might suddenly feel headachy. I might feel pain in my left knee. I might actually feel what's going on in them in my body. And only for a minute, though. I don't hold it. I don't take it in. Remember, we don't want to take on that energy from the other person. We just want to interpret it, read it, and then let it go. Then we can work with moving the energy around, actually shifting it, either psychically visualizing the energy. Sometimes people forget to put energy behind them. They're so focused on putting energy in front of them, or they don't put it underneath them. So we can work with helping to bring them back into balance. So when we're working with a person, we do want to ask permission for that person to heal. So whenever possible, before performing a healing, ask permission from the person. This is going to automatically open up their energy field so that they can receive the healing. Okay? So this is really, really important. And whenever you want to touch a client, even if it's just holding hands, you might be somebody who's very good with psychometry, which is going to be different. Which class is that? That's going to be in class 14, where you hold an object and you feel it. You want to ask before you touch a client, even if it's just a very, very gentle touch. I even ask clients at the end of a session, if I feel guided to give them a hug, I'll ask, is it okay if I give you a hug? Because you're entering that person's energy field. You see this person on the left? It says, okay, the person's outside of their little bubble. It's okay. Now they're going into their bubble. But if they haven't asked permission and they're just entering in, that's very invasive. So you want to ask permission before you go into a person's energy field. When I'm teaching my students and they're doing readings for other people, I have them always ask, even if their eyes are closed and they're doing a reading, they would tap the other person gently, and that's a way the other person would tap them to give them permission to enter their field. So we want to always ask permission and get a yes. Now, there are a couple circumstances where it is okay to heal someone without their permission. One is, you can see this woman holding a baby. She's actually the proxy for that baby. She may feel that the baby's very colicky, or the baby's not sleeping well, or the baby is having issues. And she can hold that baby and ask for healing, because psychically mothers and babies and infants are very entrained. Their energy is connected. And that's okay. So with parents and children, that is okay. When a person is too weak mentally or physically to ask for themselves, this often is people who are elderly, who are not able to communicate anymore. They may be in a coma. They may not be able to actually even ask for help. And you are psychically connected to that person from a place of love, and you have a certain sense of responsibility for that person, then it would also be okay to ask for to have healing for them. Then also in cases where there's urgent care is needed, somebody has an open wound, they're bleeding, they're having a heart attack, yes, please send healing. Again, you're working with the higher self. If that higher self really doesn't want to receive the healing, they won't. Believe me, they won't. The higher self will know. But it's just out of respect for that individual. Okay, you see that caution sign. This is a healer practitioner caution. Giving too much without the balance of also receiving can leave you with an empty garden. So you can see all the flowers have been picked, the whole garden has been harvested, and there's just not much left for the gardener. They've given it all away. Here, take this, take that, take this, take that. And they haven't come back and planted their own seeds, taken care of their own heart, their own emotional needs, their own physical needs. I've seen a number of healers and psychics get tremendously out of balance. These are the ones that, end up smoking lots of cigarettes, or drinking heavily, or having all kinds of compulsive behaviors. This is they're out of balance. They're giving so much more than they're able to take in and receive in their life. So just as a caution, just notice how you're feeling, and if there's a way that you need to replenish yourself. Maybe you need to get a massage. Maybe you need to get a hug from somebody. Maybe you need to journal in your book and connect with your inner child or something. So take care of yourself. The best healers are those who have learned how to take care of themselves, and they have more to give. Their cup is full. Their cup is full. They're not working with an empty cup. Particularly if you want to work as a psychic for a long period of time, you definitely want to take care of your body, your emotions, your spiritual self. You want to do meditation to get your energy up. You want to exercise to get your frequency strong. You want to walk on the earth. Remember, I always say walk every day, get grounded. And you want to drink lots and lots of water. This is really important. So receive. And you want to be in loving relationships. That helps you to be positive and happy and healthy. Nobody heals without deciding that they will heal. So as a psychic, it's important to find out if the client really wants to heal. Sometimes there are underlying payoffs for staying sick or unwell. We looked at this a little bit, and it is beneficial to ask if they are ready to be done with the condition or the illness. So sometimes a little dialogue or discussion needs to happen. You don't want to just cut cords for somebody if they're not really ready to have those cords cut. So maybe they're really connected to their ex-husband, and they kind of like that feeling. It feels safe. It feels secure. But it might be the connection that's keeping them from moving on and really they might be saying, I really want to have new love in my life, but they have this old psychic connection. So you have to ask them, do I have your permission to work with cutting this cord? Otherwise, there's no point in doing it. There might be a way that they stay safe by keeping that connection. They don't have to take full responsibility for their life. They don't have to move ahead. So you want to look at all these aspects before you do a healing or a psychic energy work with the individual. Do not take on another's pain. It doesn't do them any good. If you're both in pain, if somebody comes to you and they're having, let's say they're having anxiety attacks, and they feel like they're having a heart attack, but it's actually a panic attack, an anxiety attack. And your body starts feeling that. And it's 3 days later, and you did that psychic reading 3 days ago, and you're starting to have these kind of energetic attacks. That tells me that you energetically took on that person's pain. Do not do this. Remember to do your psychic cord cutting after the session, putting them in light, giving them back their energy, coming back into yourself. Remember how we talked about putting your fingertips together over your heart like this, pulling your energy back in, putting your arms together. Let me see if I can sit up a little bit so you can see. Putting your arms together like this, bringing your energy around and into yourself, working with light, centering, grounding, rootedness, cutting the cords, letting them have their pain. You don't have to take it. It doesn't lessen their pain when you take it. What you can do is you can ask to feel the pain in your body briefly, just for a moment, just so you can identify what's going on with them. Then you release it. And the release part is very, very important. We also did a meditation at one point of moving pain out of the body, feeling what it looks like, the color of it, putting it in front, and then having it move away and onto the horizon and exploding into light. So you can dissipate that into light and get rid of that pain. You do not need to take it on, and please do not. That will deplete you as a psychic. Sometimes these people have pain because they need it to. Pain is a great motivator. Pain, it's a really great motivator. This yoga teacher, Baba Haridas, he says that pain is one of the ways that brings people to their spiritual path. And I believe that's true, that sometimes a person gets in enough either emotional pain, psychic pain, physical pain, that then they seek a deeper meaning in life. So while we want to help people to heal, we also don't want to energetically take on or claim their pain as our own. Some signs of healing energy, these are things that you can look for. It's heat. The hands may feel very, very, very hot, or when you're doing a scanning of someone, you may actually feel heat coming from their body in a certain area. There may be an old wound there. You might feel a tingling in your hands or a tingling around the auric field of the person. You might feel a really, really deep, deep, deep sense of peace. Healing, that healing of coming back into that place of the soul, the deep, deep, peaceful knowing. You might see bright lights. You might, I'm so sorry. I don't know why this is going off. I'm going to shut this off. Somehow, this timer. Apologies. Okay, I think it's all off now. I apologize. Okay, so, somebody wrote a comment while I was checking that. Okay, sometimes I do feel a stuck place in my solar plexus that takes a while to clear. So I'm assuming this is somebody that works with healing or that does psychic reading. So the solar plexus is about power. So that's good to just pay attention there in terms of the energy of what that might be. And often when we feel sort of a psychic punching or attack from somebody, that's the place where you'll feel it. So I would say that we really want to work, this individual, I would encourage you to work with bringing light into that area, and then work with your grounding cord and send any energy that's not yours. Just visualize it going down your grounding cord and releasing. And then hold your hands right over your belly area and fill it with your own love and your own light. So you're grounding that other individual's energy down through the grounding cord, releasing and letting it go. And then you're filling your belly with light. And that will probably help you to feel better and disconnect from whatever that energy is. So we often will get pictures and symbols with working with healing, and that can be a wonderful thing to suddenly get a picture of, let's say you get a picture of, you're working with healing and you get a picture of a ladder, and you get the sense of this person's going to a whole higher level of being. And or maybe you get a picture of a ladder and you get the sense that this person fell off a ladder. You want to ask, when you get a symbol, what does that mean? What does that mean? And then, working in conjunction with your guides and higher self, then you can share that messages and information that you're receiving. I want to invite you to use these two amazing beings, two powerful healing helpers. Mother Mary, look at the light coming out of her hands. So beautiful. And Archangel Raphael. And you don't have to have studied them. You don't have to know them personally. If you can just trust that these are two beings of great healing light and love that you could call on. Raphael means God heals. So there's many, many different archangels. Archangel Raphael, according to, if you study Doreen Virtue's books about healing and angels, you'll see that this particular being has a tremendous healing abilities. And you can see the green. Green is often about healing, and blue, Mother Mary, is sending peace and light. So ask them to assist you in the healing, with whether it's self-healing, you're doing the Reiki healing with yourself, or a situation, or say you're not able to see the light, what it is in that particular situation, you can ask them to help you to see through their eyes. What do they see in this situation and circumstance? We are going to do a guided meditation, so I want to invite you to get really, really comfortable. Hopefully that phone won't go off again. Get really comfortable where you're sitting. I'm going to have a little bit of water. In the picture that you see in front of you, this woman is actually doing Reiki healing on a horse. Animals are very receptive to healing. They don't have anything in the mind that is blocking the receptivity to the healing. I had an old dog, and she had arthritis really badly, and I would work on sending healing energy and light into her, and she was pretty good to the end. I mean, she could still really move around, and I felt that she was very receptive to that. So we can heal not just people, we can heal plants and animals as well. So just give yourself first a little pat on the back. I just want you to really appreciate that you're here, that you're taking this time, that there may be a part of yourself that's in need of healing. There's an old saying that you teach what you need to learn, so that in some way, this teaching today that you're taking in and that you'll be sharing in your life, that perhaps there's a healing in there. There's certainly one for me, I know. So just allow that healing energy. So let's close our eyes and focus on our heart. Beautiful heart energy. Picture a pink light in your heart. Pink is the color of love. Beautiful bright love light. And picture little bubbles, pink bubbles, filling your whole auric field, just sort of tickling your whole auric field, pink bubbles of light. And you might even imagine that these pink bubbles smell like roses. The smell of roses, your favorite rose. You're sitting in this bubble with little teeny tiny pink bubbles tickling you. And you can feel inside a smile coming, because now you feel the little bubbles going inside your body, not just your auric field outside, but inside. All these little pink bubbles are tickling your organs and touching them and softening any places that might feel a little tight, and bringing their beautiful love light in. So love light coming inside to all the organs and systems, the muscles, the bones, all the way from the top of your head, all the way down to your toes. Beautiful pink love light. The light of your soul, the light of your higher self. Sometimes I can hear my higher self saying and telling me to look into a mirror and say, "Look into my eyes, there's a love light shining, and it's shining for you." And our higher selves love us unconditionally. So take time to look in a mirror and see your higher self shining through your eyes. But right now our higher selves are going to be going on a journey, a healing journey. So just let yourself relax. Continue taking deep breaths in and out, in and out. And let any sound that you hear in your environment to act as a catalyst to bring you deeper inside. Relaxing your body, quieting your mind. Remember, if any thoughts come up, that you can put them in a little box under your chair or behind you, your little thought box. And for now, you can just go within. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, just being. So the journey that we're going to take today is through time and space. So I want you to envision this pink bubble as a little time capsule that you are now in. Picture it around you. And it can travel through time and space, and just allow your higher self to bring you through time and space. We're going to be going to a very sacred temple high in the Himalayan mountains. So on the count of 3, just allow this little bubble to travel. 1, 2, 3. And you're going to arrive right outside this little cave in the mountains. And this is a very sacred cave. This is the cave of the Ascended Masters. They come and they meet here. But it's warm this time of year at this cave. There's a nice warmth. And you feel very comfortable there, for this is a place that you have always wanted to travel. to the Cave of the Ascended Masters. You've heard about it, and now you get to be here. So before you go in the cave, you remove your shoes because you're showing an honoring. And you place your hands together in front of your heart and you bow namaste to the beings of light that you are going to meet within. You go inside the cave and it's lit up by a beautiful light blue light. It has sort of a magical quality to it. And in the center of the room, there's a table. It's a healing table. Nobody else is in the cave right now. So you go ahead and you lay down on the table. For you know that this is the Ascended Master's cave and that they will be here shortly. The first thing I want you to do as you lay down on the table is to feel where your back is touching the table and feel the sacred cloth that is underneath you. That many others have come to this special sacred cave for healing, and that there is an energy and an aura of peacefulness all around. Feel the letting go in your heart and your mind. Now I'd like you to place your hand on your heart as you lay down on this table in the sacred healing cave. And I want you to ask yourself, are you ready to be healed of anything and everything that's holding you back from living the most magnificent life that you can live, centered in your heart, divinely guided by your higher self, manifesting your greatest gifts, serving humanity in the best way possible, being healed and whole and happy and healthy? Are you ready for this? Feel that in your heart. Now place your other hand on your belly, one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. Breathe deep into your belly so that the hand raises and lowers with each breath, each inhale and each exhale. Breathe in readiness, breathe out any parts of you that might be holding to the past or old beliefs or limitations. Breathe in readiness, breathe out any fears, any doubts, just letting them go. Breathe in readiness, breathe out any lack or limitation. And now as you lay there on the table, just allow your eyes to close. And I want you to smell the scent in the room. There's a beautiful sandalwood scent and it's starting to grow. And it's a very pleasant scent. It might remind you of a temple or a sacred place that you've been. Perhaps a master teacher that you've met. But the sandalwood scent it's very subtle and soft and pleasant. And now you feel your hands are being gently lifted and clasped. You look up and you see on your left Mother Mary and on your right Archangel Raphael holding your hands. And you feel this triangle of energy, of love, going from your heart to Raphael, from Raphael to Mother Mary, from Mother Mary to you. And the energy just is moving in a beautiful flowing way. You feel the connection, all of you connected in love. And now, up by your head, you feel two hands gently holding the top of your head, right at the crown. This is your guardian angel. Your guardian angel is placing their loving hands upon your head, right up at the crown, sending in a beautiful purple light all the way through your body to your toes. You receive that light into every cell of your being, the purest light of your divine guardian angel, activating your higher self in your body. Now at your feet, you feel a power animal's presence. It's a very strong presence. And just allow it to emerge and see what power animal is there for you. For this animal is bringing a gift. Something you are to remember and to know about yourself. Just allow the power animal to be there in love, in service, in connection. And now right above you is your divine higher self. And you can see this image of your divine higher self hovering above you with their hands of light, showering you with light. It's like little sprinkles of white light are covering you and filling you. Just receive this white light into your whole system. Feel your emotional body coming into a place of balance, quiet, peaceful, calm emotions, steady, open, feeling safe, feeling well, peaceful, calm self. Now feel these sparkles of light coming down from your higher self, and feel how they're quieting your mind. That it's as though all the thoughts that were going on in your mind suddenly disappear, and there is an openness in your mind and in your consciousness. An openness to this moment, right here, right now. A fullness of being in this moment. Just allow that to be there. And now as your higher self is showering you with this peaceful energy, feel all these positive thoughts coming in. How wonderful I am. How healed and whole I am. How perfect I am. How beautiful I am. How wonderful life is. How happy I feel. How wise I am. All these incredible thoughts that are all very, very positive and pure and true are filling your consciousness. And you're claiming them as your own, feeling them, knowing them. And now feel the light, this beautiful light that's being showered on you from your higher self. Feel it going to every part of your body, into your circulatory system and your lymph system, into all of the organs, the muscles, the tissues, the bones, into your eyes, your face, your ears, your mouth. Beautiful, sparkling, golden white light filling your whole physical being. Feel how your body is being energized and balanced. Any fatigue is just being transmuted into light. Any issues of pain or illness are being transmuted into light. Just very, very easily, so that you're left feeling healthy and whole, vital and alive, peaceful and present. And now open to this light from your divine higher self, connecting you completely with your spiritual self, that part of your being that exists beyond time and beyond space, that can travel through the dimensions, that can tap into all the Akashic records and all the information from all the worlds. Feel the readiness in yourself to have that type of a connection. Very, very powerful spiritual connection. So that if there might be any area of life that you worried about in the past, you know that this part of yourself can take care of it, can handle it, has got you covered, has your back. Feel that energy. Beautiful healing light. Now just let this light dance through every cell of your being, through your emotional self, your mental self, your physical self, your spiritual self. Feel that pink bubble that is surrounding you, that you're holding all this light in, sort of like an egg of light. Nothing but light can come to you, and nothing but light can be here, and so it is. You are one with all the love in the universe, and you are rooted and grounded. You are a being of light. That is your very essence. Now you hear a little bell, sort of like a little tinker bell ringing, and your higher self's holding a little bell over your head, and they're saying, whenever you hear this bell, come back into this place of healing and wholeness. You open your eyes and you say, thank you, higher self. Thank you, power animals. Thank you, Raphael. Thank you, Mother Mary. Thank you, guardian angel. And thank you to all the invisible helpers that are there as well. And it is time now to leave this healing sanctuary, feeling whole and complete, energized, awake and alive. So allow yourself to get up. Let your helpers recede into the background and dissolve into light. See yourself alone in the room, but knowing that your heart connection to each of these beings is whole and complete. Come back outside and put your shoes on. Feel the vitality in your body, the energy. Know that you have just been activated on many, many levels so that you can manifest your soul's purpose here on this earth. You can heal others. You can live your dream. And now the pink bubble that's around you with all those little pink bubbles is lifting and carrying you. I'm going to count from 3 to 1. I want you to come back into this room and in this time and space. 3, 2, coming through time and space, hearing my voice, and 1, completely back and present. I would like you now to put your fingertips together in front of your heart like this. Rooted and grounded. Your arms together like this, running your energy through your head and around through your arms. You might want to rub your head or your body a little bit. Feel your arms, your legs, your torso. Get really rooted and grounded in your body. Feel yourself. Come completely back. We are whole and healed. You just have to remember that. here are some books that I would like to recommend to you that you can read. The first one is You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. She is a master healer, a master teacher. And she worked with healing herself first. She had cancer and healed herself, and many other situations and circumstances. Just a phenomenal being. This one book of hers, though, is the one that I was talking about, that has the different parts of the body that I'd like you to study. Hands of Light, this is from Barbara Brennan. She has a whole healing school. You can look online and find out more about that. You can see the light coming through those hands. I have a message that an individual had a lovely, thank you, I'm glad you liked the meditation and that you had a wonderful experience. This next book is called Living a Life of Reiki, and it's by Shalandra Abbey. She's actually a Maui resident, and she wrote this book, and I'd like you to see if you could get a copy of that and study it, or find a Reiki practitioner or teacher in your town or near you, so that you can learn about the points and learn about that universal life energy, and it will give you another tool to use in your healing and psychic work. And the next one is John of God. That book there. I do not heal. God is the one who heals. This is a suggested YouTube video. It is Reiki Hands Positioning for Self-Healing. You could look at that as well. You can go back. All these points are going to be keyed up on the video, so you can go back and view this again, and the meditation will be listed, the YouTube, and the homework, and the books. And for homework this week, I would like you to practice sending healing energy to another plant, person, or animal, and to watch that YouTube video with Reiki, and to read some of that You Can Heal Your Life, and to work with some of the affirmations there. Definitely work with incorporating some affirmations. I would like you to be like the bamboo. Today we did review the homework, we answered some questions, we learned about integrating healing into the psychic sessions, and be the bamboo, let the healing flow through. You can do it. You can do it. You are the healer. Practice, practice, practice. This is how we learn. You have to practice, practice, practice. Work with healing. Get a partner. Work together. Next week, our class is Lesson 12, learning how to combine all your psychic abilities, such as clairsentience, clairvoyance, telepathy, mediumship, and healing. This is going to be a dynamic class. I hope that you can join us. I want to thank you all so much for being here today. We are out of time, and blessings. May the healing force go with you, and may you be a healing force in the world. Namaste. Thank you.